The big classroom on Kepler Prime was full of strange creatures. Commander Zeth looked at all the different aliens sitting in their seats. Some had blue skin like water. Others had hard shells like bugs. A few looked like giant lizards with bright scales. The room smelled like a mix of different worlds. This was the Galactic Military Academy. Young aliens from 47 different planets came here to learn how to fight in space wars. They wanted to join the Unified Defense Force and protect their worlds from bad guys. Commander Zeth was a tall lizard person with gold eyes. He had fought in many battles across the galaxy. Today he had to teach these young aliens about war. Most of them looked excited. Some looked scared. "Listen up," Commander Zeth said in a loud voice. "Today we start learning about military history. You will study the best fighters and the biggest battles in the galaxy." A student raised her hand. She looked like a whale but had arms and legs. Her name was Trill. "Commander, will we learn about human fighting?" The room got quiet. Everyone started whispering. Humans had joined the galaxy only 50 years ago. They came from a small blue planet called Earth. Most aliens thought humans were weak and primitive. "Yes, we will study humans," Commander Zeth sighed. "They gave us lots of old videos and records about their wars. Today, we will watch them." A student made of crystal started glowing. His voice sounded like music. "Commander, humans are so primitive. How can they teach us anything about real war?" "That is what we will find out," Commander Zeth said with a smile that showed his sharp teeth. The lights went dark. A big screen appeared in the air above them. It showed a blue and green planet spinning slowly. The planet looked peaceful and beautiful. "This is Earth," Commander Zeth said. "Human wars go back 10,000 years. We will start with something they call World War I." The screen changed to show long ditches cut into muddy ground. The ditches went on for hundreds of miles. They were full of human soldiers holding primitive weapons. This war happened from 1914 to 1918, Commander Zeth explained. Most of their planet was fighting. A bug-like student made clicking sounds. "Why did they dig holes? Why not just bomb them from space?" "Humans could not fly in space yet," Commander Zeth said. "They fought with bullets and explosives. They even used poison gas." The screen started moving. It showed human soldiers climbing out of their ditches. They ran toward enemy lines while other humans shot at them. Many soldiers fell down and did not get up. The alien students watched in shock. The humans kept running, even when their friends were dying. They did not stop. They did not surrender. They just kept fighting. 9 million soldiers died in this war, Commander Zeth said quietly. An elf student with long ears raised her hand. "Commander, why did they keep fighting? This looks like suicide." "Good question," Commander Zeth said. "Humans were learning to fight with new weapons. But watch what happens next." The screen showed new machines. Humans built metal vehicles with guns. They made flying machines that could drop bombs. They found better ways to talk to each other during battles. "See how fast they learn," Commander Zeth pointed at the screen. In just a few months, they changed everything. They stopped the stupid charges and started using smart tactics. The crystal student glowed brighter. They learned fast, but still very primitive compared to energy weapons. "True," Commander Zeth said. "Now let us see their next big war." The screen changed again. This time it showed a map of the whole planet Earth. Red arrows pointed in all directions. This war was much bigger. "This is World War II, Commander Zeth said. "It lasted from 1939 to 1945. Over 100 million humans died," the students gasped. That was more than the total population of some planets. How could one species lose so many and still survive? The screen showed giant battles with thousands of tanks. It showed airplanes fighting in the sky. It showed big ships shooting at each other on the oceans. The humans were fighting everywhere, on their planet at the same time. "Look at how much stuff they made," Commander Zeth said. Numbers appeared on the screen. They built over 300,000 flying machines and 100,000 tanks in just 6 years. Trill the whale student made a sad sound. "Commander, how did they make so much? Did they have special technology?" "No," Commander Zeth said. "They just worked very hard. Every human on the planet helped make weapons and supplies. Even their children helped." The screen showed human factories working day and night. Women and old men built guns and bombs. Everyone was working to help the war effort. But the most amazing thing, Commander Zeth continued, is that they never gave up. The screen showed a human city being attacked. Buildings were falling down. People were hiding in basements. But the human soldiers kept fighting even when their city was destroyed. "This city was called Stalingrad," Commander Zeth said. "2 huge armies fought here for months. Millions of humans died, but they kept fighting in the ruins." The alien students watched humans crawling through broken buildings. They saw humans fighting with kitchen knives when they ran out of bullets. They saw humans so thin from hunger they could barely stand, but still fighting. "Where is their surrender?" asked a hive mind student. "When do they give up?" "That is the thing about humans," Commander Zeth said. "They do not give up, ever." The screen showed more battles. Humans fighting in frozen lands where the cold would kill most aliens. Humans fighting in jungles full of diseases. Humans fighting on tiny islands in the middle of oceans. They fought in every place on their planet, Commander Zeth said. Hot places, cold places, wet places, dry places. They never stopped adapting. A young alien student raised a tentacle. "Commander, this is scary. Are humans dangerous?" "Commander." Zeth looked at the student with serious eyes. "That is what we are here to learn. Tomorrow we will see what happened when humans learned to split atoms." The lights came back on. Many students looked pale and worried. Some were already getting up to leave. "Anyone who wants to change to a different class can do so," Commander Zeth said. "But remember, these humans are now our allies. They fight with us, not against us." As the students filed out, they whispered to each other in their different languages. They all said the same thing in different ways. Humans were not what they expected. They were not weak. They were not primitive. They were something else entirely, something that scared them. The next day, fewer students came to class. About 30 aliens had asked to change to different subjects. The ones who stayed looked nervous. They whispered to each other and kept looking at the big screen. Commander Zeth walked into the room, carrying a black box. He set it on his desk and looked at the remaining students with his gold eyes. "Before we continue," he said, "I want to show you something." He opened the black box and pulled out a small metal object. It looked like a tiny sphere with wires coming out of it. "This is a human atomic bomb," he said. "Well, a model of one. The real thing is much bigger." The students moved back in their seats. Even the crystal students stopped glowing for a moment. "Humans invented this weapon in 1945, Commander Zeth continued. "It can destroy an entire city with one explosion." He put the model back in the box. "Today, we will learn about the day humans first used this weapon and what it taught us about their nature." The lights dimmed. The screen showed a human city with wooden houses and busy streets. People were walking around, going to work, living normal lives. This city was called Hiroshima, Commander Zeth said. It had about 300,000 people living there. The screen changed to show a human airplane flying high above the city. It was just one small plane, nothing special. "One plane," Commander Zeth said. "One bomb. Watch what happens." The screen filled with white light. When it cleared, the city was gone. Where buildings once stood, there was only flat ground and burning. Ruins. The students sat in complete silence. The bomb killed 100,000 people instantly, Commander Zeth said quietly. Many more died later from radiation sickness. Trill the whale student made a crying sound. Commander, why did they do this? Why kill so many innocent people? The humans were at war with another human nation called Japan, Commander Zeth explained. They thought this would end the war faster and save lives. The screen showed pictures of the destroyed city, humans wandering around looking for their families. Buildings melted like wax. Shadows burned into walls where people had been standing. But here is the important part, Commander Zeth said. They did not stop there. The screen showed another city. 3 days later, another flash of white light. Another city destroyed. They used a second bomb on a city called Nagasaki, Commander Zeth said. This one killed 70,000 people. The crystal student's light was very dim now. Commander, how many of these weapons did they make? At their peak, humans had over 70,000. Nuclear weapons, Commander Zeth said. Enough to destroy their entire planet many times over. The students gasped. The bug-like aliens started clicking frantically. Some students got up and walked out of the room. But Commander, said an elf student, if they had so many planet-killer weapons, why did their species survive? Why did they not destroy themselves? That is the most interesting part, Commander Zeth said with a strange smile. They pointed all these weapons at each other for 50 years. They called it the Cold War. The screen showed a map of Earth divided into 2 colors. Red and blue sections covered different parts of the planet. 2 groups of humans had enough weapons to end all life on Earth, Commander Zeth explained. They knew if one side attacked, the other side would attack back. Everyone would die. So they made peace? Asked a young reptile student. No, Commander Zeth said. They made it so war was impossible. They called it mutually assured destruction. The screen showed human leaders meeting and arguing. It showed massive rockets being built. It showed soldiers training with radiation suits. For 50 years, human children grew up knowing their world could end at any moment, Commander Zeth said. Every day they lived under the threat of complete extinction. But they kept living normal lives. How? Whispered Trill. How did they not go crazy? They adapted, Commander Zeth said simply. Humans always adapt. The screen changed to show smaller wars happening around Earth. Humans fighting in jungles, deserts, and mountains. Even with world-ending weapons hanging over their heads, they kept fighting smaller battles. They learned to fight limited wars, Commander Zeth explained. They learned to use the threat of big weapons to prevent big wars, while still fighting small ones. The crystal students started glowing again, but weakly. Commander, this makes no sense. How can they threaten to destroy everything and then fight carefully? Because humans think differently than we do, Commander Zeth said. They can hold 2 opposite ideas in their heads at the same time. They can prepare for total war while working for peace. The screen showed human scientists working in laboratories. They were taking their war technology and turning it into peaceful uses. Nuclear power plants, medical devices, space rockets. They took their most destructive invention and used it to power their cities, Commander Zeth said. They used rocket technology to reach for the stars. The students watched as humans built space stations and traveled to their moon. The same technology that made weapons of mass destruction was lifting them off their planet. In 1969, just 24 years after inventing atomic weapons, humans walked on their moon, Commander Zeth said. They went from planet killers to space explorers in 1 generation. A hive mind student buzzed nervously. Commander, What happened when they met other species? When they joined the galaxy? That is tomorrow's lesson, Commander Zeth said. But I will tell you this much. When humans first detected our survey probe near their planet Mars, do you know what they did? The students shook their heads. They did not try to communicate with us, Commander Zeth said. They did not welcome us as friends. They captured our probe and took it apart to learn how our technology worked. They wanted to know if we were a threat, Commander Zeth continued. And if we were, they wanted to know how to fight us. The room was very quiet. The students were thinking about what this meant. Within 6 months, they had copied our basic technology, Commander Zeth said. Within 2 years, they had improved it. The screen showed human factories producing alien-style weapons and ships. But the designs were different. Simpler in some ways, but also more effective. They took our advanced technology and made it better. Commander Zeth said, they found ways to make it cheaper, faster, and more reliable. An elf student raised her hand. Commander, are you saying humans are smarter than us? No, Commander Zeth said. I am saying they think about problems differently. Where we see complexity, they see simplicity. Where we see impossible, they see difficult. The screen showed human soldiers training alongside alien troops. At first, the humans looked out of place. Their equipment was plain compared to the fancy gear of other species. But watch what happens during joint exercises. Commander Zeth said the screen showed war games between mixed alien and human forces. At first, the aliens were winning easily. Their advanced weapons and shields were too much for human technology. But humans learn, Commander Zeth said. The next exercise showed humans using different tactics. They did not try to match alien firepower. Instead, they used speed, surprise, and teamwork. They won by changing the rules of the game. By the third exercise, the humans were winning, Commander Zeth said. Not because they had better weapons, but because they had better ideas. The bell rang, ending the class. Many more students got up to leave. Some looked scared. Others looked thoughtful. Tomorrow, we will learn about human psychology, Commander Zeth announced. We will discuss why they fight and what happens when they decide to stop fighting. As the students filed out, Commander Zeth heard them talking in worried voices. They were starting to understand that humans were not just another species. They were something new in the galaxy, something that changed everything just by existing. Only half the students came to class on the third day. The big classroom felt empty with so many seats vacant. The students who remained sat closer together, as if they needed comfort from each other. Commander Zeth noticed the change. These young aliens were learning something that scared them, but they were also learning something important. Today, we will not watch videos of battles, Commander Zeth said. Today, we will talk about why humans fight the way they do. He walked to the front of the room and sat on the edge of his desk. This was unusual. Most alien teachers kept formal distance from their students. Tell me, Commander Zeth said, what do you think drives humans to fight? A young reptile student raised her hand. They seem angry all the time. Maybe they just like violence. Interesting theory, Commander Zeth said. Anyone else? The crystal student hemmed thoughtfully. Perhaps. They are afraid. They fight because they think everyone is trying to hurt them. Also possible, Commander Zeth nodded. What about you, Trill? The whale student moved uncomfortably in her support chair. I think they fight because they do not know how to stop. It is like a disease. Commander Zeth smiled, showing his sharp teeth. All good guesses, but you are all wrong. He activated the screen. Instead of showing battles, it showed human families. Children playing in parks. People working in gardens. Humans laughing and dancing and celebrating. Humans fight because they love, Commander Zeth said simply. The students looked confused. This was not what they expected to hear. Every human war, every battle, every sacrifice was done to protect something they loved, Commander Zeth continued. Their families, their homes, their ideas, their freedom. The screen showed human soldiers writing letters home. It showed them carrying pictures of their children. It showed them crying when friends died in battle. When humans go to war, they are not fighting for conquest, Commander Zeth explained. They are fighting for survival, and they will do anything to protect what they love. A hive mind student buzzed nervously. But Commander, we saw them kill millions of their own people. How is that love? Because they believed those deaths would save even more lives, Commander Zeth said. Humans can make terrible choices for good reasons. The screen showed human medics treating wounded enemies. It showed human soldiers sharing food with hungry civilians. It showed humans rebuilding destroyed cities after wars ended. Notice what happens when the fighting stops, Commander Zeth said. Humans do not celebrate victory by destroying their enemies. They help them rebuild. The students watched as humans sent aid to countries they had just defeated. They saw American soldiers helping Japanese children after World War II. They saw German and British veterans shaking hands at memorial services. This is not normal behavior for a warrior species, Commander Zeth said. Most species either enslave their enemies or avoid them forever. Humans make friends with them. An elf student raised her hand. But Commander, if humans are so loving, why are they so good at war? Because love makes them dangerous, Commander Zeth said. A human who is fighting to protect their child will never surrender. They will use any weapon, accept any sacrifice, break any rule to keep their loved ones safe. The screen showed human parents during wartime, mothers hiding their children in basements during bombing raids, fathers teaching their sons to fight, families fleeing from invading armies. Love makes humans unpredictable, Commander Zeth continued. Most species have logical limits to what they will do in war. Humans have no limits when protecting what they love. The crystal student glowed brighter. Is that why they developed such terrible weapons? To protect their families? Exactly, Commander Zeth said. Every human weapon was built by someone who wanted to keep their loved ones safe. The atomic bomb was built by scientists who were afraid their enemies would build it first. The screen showed human scientists working on secret projects. They looked tired and worried. Many had families they were trying to protect. They created world-ending weapons, not because they wanted to destroy the world, Commander Zeth said, but because they wanted to make sure no one could destroy their world. A young alien student who had been quiet spoke up. Commander, what happens when humans have nothing left to love? The room got very quiet. Commander Zeth looked at the student for a long moment. That, he said slowly, is the most dangerous question you could ask. The screen showed human soldiers in the worst conditions. Men who had lost their families, their homes, their friends. They looked like empty shells. A human with nothing left to love has nothing left to lose, Commander Zeth said. They become the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. The students watched as these broken humans fought with a cold efficiency that was somehow more frightening than their earlier passionate battles. They showed no mercy, no fear, no hesitation. But here is the remarkable thing, Commander Zeth said. Even these broken humans usually find something new to love. A fellow soldier, a cause, an idea. Humans always find a reason to keep going. The screen showed human veterans returning home from wars. Some were injured. Some were traumatized. But most found ways to rebuild their lives and find new purpose. They heal, Commander Zeth said. Even after the worst experiences, humans find ways to love again. Shrill made a soft sound. Commander, is that why humans joined the galaxy? 2. Find new things to love? Perhaps, Commander Zeth said. When humans first met us, they were curious about our cultures. our art, our music. They wanted to learn from us and teach us. The screen showed human diplomats meeting with alien representatives. The humans looked excited and interested, like children discovering new toys. But they also studied us, Commander Zeth continued. They learned our weaknesses, our fears, our military capabilities, just in case. The students shifted uncomfortably. They were starting to understand the dual nature of human thinking. Humans prepare for war while hoping for peace, Commander. Zeth said. They make friends while planning how to defeat those friends if necessary. They can hold love and fear in their minds at the same time. A reptile student hissed softly. Commander, that sounds like madness. Does it? Commander Zeth asked. Or does it sound like perfect survival strategy? The screen showed human families living normal lives while their military built weapons in secret. Children playing in parks while their parents worked on defense projects. Humans have survived because they never fully trust anyone, Commander Zeth said. But they also never fully hate anyone. They prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. The crystal student's light was very dim now. Commander, how do we know humans will not turn on us? We do not, Commander Zeth said honestly. But we also know they have never betrayed an ally who treated them fairly. Human loyalty is absolute, but it must be earned. The screen showed human soldiers fighting alongside alien troops. In every battle, the humans protected their alien teammates, even at the cost of their own lives. Humans will die for their friends, Commander Zeth said, but they will also kill for their families. The key is making sure humans see you as a friend, not a threat. The bell rang, ending another class. Even more students got up to leave. The classroom was now less than half full. Tomorrow we will learn about human military doctrine in space, Commander Zeth announced. We will see how they adapted their Earth-based warfare to fighting among the stars. As the students filed out, Commander Zeth heard them talking in hushed voices. They were no longer just learning about human warfare. They were learning about human nature, and human nature was more complex and dangerous than they had ever imagined. The classroom was almost empty on the fourth day. Only 35 students remained out of the original 200. They sat in a tight group near the front, their different species united by a mixture of fear and fascination. Commander Zeth looked at the small group with respect. These young aliens had chosen to learn something that most of their classmates could not handle. You are brave, he told them. Today you will learn why your courage is important. He activated the screen, which showed the darkness of space filled with stars. It looked peaceful and beautiful. When humans first reached space, they brought their wars with them, Commander Zeth said. But space changed how they fought. The screen showed early human space stations. They looked primitive compared to alien technology, but they were heavily armed. Humans learned that space warfare is different from ground warfare, Commander. Zeth explained. In space, there is nowhere to hide, no weather to slow you down, no terrain to give you advantage. A young crystal student glowed nervously. Commander, how did they adapt to fighting in space? They went back to basics, Commander Zeth said. Speed, surprise, and superior numbers. The screen showed human battle tactics in space. Their ships moved in simple formations, but they moved fast and struck hard. They did not try to match alien technology. Instead, they used tactics that made technology less important. Watch this battle simulation, Commander Zeth said. The screen showed a war game between human and alien forces. The alien ships had better shields, faster engines, and more powerful weapons. They should have won easily, but the humans did not fight the way aliens expected. Instead of ship-to-ship combat, they used swarm tactics. Hundreds of small human ships attacked from all directions. At once. The aliens could not target all the human ships at once, Commander Zeth explained. While they destroyed some, others got through and damaged the big alien ships. The students watched as the alien fleet was overwhelmed by sheer numbers. The humans lost many ships, but they won the battle. Humans learned that losing is acceptable if you accomplish your mission, Commander Zeth said. They will sacrifice ships and lives to achieve victory. Trill the whale student made a sad sound. Commander, do humans not care about their own people? They care deeply, Commander Zeth said, but they care more about winning. The screen showed human ship captains making difficult decisions. They ordered their crews to ram enemy ships. They sacrificed themselves to save other human vessels. They made choices that would break most alien minds. Human space captains have absolute authority during battle, Commander Zeth explained. They can order any action, including suicide missions, and their crews will obey. A reptile student hissed with worry. Commander, that is terrifying. How do they maintain discipline? Because every human understands the mission, Commander Zeth said. They know why they are fighting and what they are protecting. The screen showed human ships carrying civilian evacuees, families fleeing from war zones, children looking out windows at the stars. Every human soldier knows they are fighting for these people, Commander Zeth said. They will do anything to keep them safe. The crystal student's light dimmed. Commander, what happens when humans face superior alien technology? They adapt it, Commander Zeth simply. The screen showed human engineers studying captured alien equipment. They took it apart, learned how it worked, and built their own versions. But humans do not just copy alien technology, Commander Zeth continued. They improve it. The students watched as humans modified alien weapons to be simpler and more reliable. They saw human factories producing hybrid technology that combined alien science with human engineering. Humans make technology that works better in war, Commander Zeth explained. They sacrifice fancy features for effectiveness. A hive mind student buzzed nervously. Commander, this suggests humans are better at war than we are. Not better. Commander Zeth said, different. Humans approach war as a problem to solve, not a ritual to perform. The screen showed alien military academies teaching traditional tactics and honor codes. It showed elaborate ceremonies and formal dueling procedures. Most species treat war as an art form, Commander Zeth said. Humans treat it as a job. The students watched as human soldiers trained without ceremony. They practiced dirty fighting, surprise attacks, and psychological warfare. Nothing was off limits if it helped them win. Humans will cheat, Commander Zeth said bluntly. They will lie, steal, and break rules to achieve victory. The students looked shocked. This went against everything they had learned about honorable combat. But Commander, said an elf student, how can they fight alongside us if they have no honor? Because humans have a different kind of honor, Commander Zeth replied. They honor their word to their allies, even when it costs them. The screen showed human ships protecting alien vessels during joint operations. Even when outnumbered, the humans kept their promise to defend their allies. Humans will break any rule except their promises, Commander Zeth said. They will fight dirty against enemies, but they will die before betraying friends. The crystal student glowed with confusion. Commander, how do we know if humans see us as friends or enemies? That is the most important question, Commander Zeth said seriously. And the answer is simple. Humans see anyone who threatens their loved ones as enemies. Everyone else is a potential friend. The screen showed human diplomats meeting with alien leaders. They were friendly and respectful, but their military advisors were always present, watching and taking notes. Humans want to be friends, Commander Zeth said, but they prepare for war. The bell rang, but none of the students moved. They were too absorbed in what they were learning. Commander, Trill said quietly. What happens tomorrow? What is the final lesson? Commander Zeth looked at the small group of remaining students. They had come so far from the eager young aliens who had started this course. Tomorrow we learn about human integration into the Galactic Defense Force, he said. We learn how they changed our military forever. A young reptile student raised her hand. Commander, are we safe? Are humans really our allies? Commander Zeth considered the question carefully. Humans are our allies as long as we remain there. Friends, but they are also studying us, learning our weaknesses, preparing for the possibility that we might become enemies. Is that bad? Asked the crystal student. It depends, Commander Zeth said. Do you plan to betray humanity? The students shook their heads quickly. Then you are probably safe, Commander Zeth said with a smile. But remember, humans never fully trust anyone. They always have backup plans. As the students finally filed out, they were quiet and thoughtful. They were beginning to understand that humans were not just another species in the galaxy. They were something new. Something that changed the rules just by existing. And tomorrow, they would learn what that meant for everyone else. On the final day, only 25 students remained in the classroom. They sat in the front row, their faces serious and worried. These were the survivors, the ones who had seen human warfare in all its terrible glory and chosen to learn more. Commander. Zeth looked at them with mixed feelings. He was proud of their courage, but he also felt sorry for them. They had learned something that would change how they saw the galaxy forever. Today we learn about the present, Commander Zeth said. We learn about what happened when humans joined the Galactic Defense Force. The screen showed the headquarters of the GDF, a beautiful crystal building floating in space. It looked peaceful and civilized, the symbol of galactic cooperation. 50 years ago, humans were invited to join our military alliance, Commander Zeth said. We thought we were doing them a favor. The students watched as human ships arrived at GDF stations. The humans looked small and plain compared to the other species. Their technology was simple, their uniforms basic. We gave them support roles. Commander Zeth explained. Supply duties, maintenance work, training assistance. We did not think they were ready for real combat. A crystal student glowed dimly. Commander, were we wrong? Completely, Commander Zeth said with a bitter laugh. The screen showed human officers observing alien military exercises. They stood quietly in the background, taking notes and asking questions. They looked harmless and eager to learn. The humans watched everything, Commander Zeth said. They studied our tactics, our equipment, our leadership styles. They learned how we thought about war. The students watched as human advisors began making suggestions. Small changes to supply chains, minor adjustments to training programs, simple improvements to communication systems. At first, we thought they were just trying to be helpful, Commander Zeth said. We did not realize they were conducting the most complete military analysis in galactic history. The screen showed the first crisis where humans were involved. A group of rebel worlds had developed stealth technology and were raiding supply convoys. The traditional GDF response was not working. We lost dozens of ships trying to hunt the rebels, Commander Zeth said. Our sensors could not find them. Our weapons could not hit them. The students watched as GDF commanders argued about tactics. Some wanted to build better sensors. Others wanted more powerful weapons. The debates went on for months while the raids continued. Then Captain Lisa Rodriguez requested permission to try a different approach. Commander Zeth said the screen showed a human woman in a plain uniform. She looked ordinary, but her eyes were sharp and intelligent. What did she do? Asked Trill, the whale student. She ignored the rebels, Commander Zeth said. The students looked confused. This was not what they expected to hear. Captain Rodriguez did not hunt the rebel ships, Commander Zeth explained. Instead, she studied the rebels themselves. She learned about their culture, their history, their motivations. The screen showed human intelligence officers visiting civilian stations. They talked to merchants, workers, and families. They gathered information about the rebel worlds. The humans discovered something we had missed, Commander Zeth said. The rebels were not fighting for conquest. They were fighting for independence. The students watched as Captain Rodriguez and her team developed a new strategy. Instead of attacking the rebels, they opened negotiations. The humans offered the rebels exactly what they wanted, Commander Zeth said, but with conditions that would gradually bring them back into the galactic community. The screen showed diplomatic meetings between human negotiators and rebel leaders. The humans listened carefully to rebel concerns and offered solutions that addressed the real problems. Within 6 months, the rebellion was over, Commander Zeth said. Not through violence, but through negotiation. A reptile student hissed softly. Commander, that seems too simple. How did they succeed where we failed? Because humans understand that most wars are not really about fighting, Commander Zeth replied. They are about solving problems. The screen showed the former rebels working alongside GDF forces. Their stealth technology was now being used to protect merchant ships instead of raiding them. The humans turned enemies into allies, Commander Zeth said. They did not destroy the rebel capability. They redirected it. The crystal student glowed with understanding. Commander, humans see war as a tool, not a goal. Exactly, Commander Zeth said. For humans, war is what happens when other solutions fail. The screen showed more examples of human military innovation within the GDF. They had reorganized supply chains to be more efficient. They had developed new training programs that reduced casualties. They had created psychological warfare departments. But the most important change, Commander Zeth said, was how they made us think about our enemies. The students watched as human analysts studied every known hostile species in the galaxy. They created detailed profiles of enemy psychology, culture, and motivation. Humans taught us that knowing your enemy is more important than having better weapons, Commander Zeth explained. The screen showed joint military exercises between human and alien forces. The coordination was perfect, with casualties reduced to almost zero and objectives achieved faster than ever before. Human officers now serve throughout the GDF, Commander Zeth said. They have become our strategists, our analysts, our negotiators. Trill made a worried sound. Commander, does that mean humans control our military? Not control, Commander Zeth said carefully. Influence. The screen showed human advisors working with alien commanders. The humans were always respectful, always supportive, but their suggestions were always adopted. Humans have a gift for making other people want to do what humans think is best, Commander Zeth said. They call it leadership. A young elf student raised her hand. Commander, are we still independent, or have humans taken over? Commander Zeth was quiet for a long moment. This was the question he had been dreading. That depends on how you define independence, he said finally. The screen showed a map of the galaxy. Human ships were stationed at key points throughout known space. Human bases were built on strategic worlds. Human technology was integrated into every major defense system. Humans now have the ability to monitor everything that happens in the galaxy, Commander Zeth said. They know about every ship movement, every political change, every potential threat. The students looked frightened. This was not what they had expected when humans joined the galactic community. But here is the important part, Commander Zeth continued. They use this knowledge to keep peace, not make war. The screen showed human forces responding to crises throughout the galaxy. Natural disasters, pirate raids, diplomatic emergencies. In every case, humans arrived quickly and solved problems efficiently. Humans have prevented 3 major wars in the last 20 years, Commander Zeth said. They stopped conflicts before they started. The crystal student's light was very dim. Commander, what happens if humans decide we are enemies? Then we lose, Commander Zeth said simply. The room fell silent. This was the truth they had all been avoiding. Humans know everything about us, Commander Zeth continued. Our military capabilities, our political systems, our cultural weaknesses. They have studied us more thoroughly than we have studied ourselves. The screen showed human intelligence reports on every major galactic species. The files were incredibly detailed, covering everything from military tactics to psychological profiles. If humans wanted to conquer the galaxy, they could do it, Commander. Zeth said. Not through force, but through manipulation. They could turn us against each other while keeping their own hands clean. A hive mind student buzzed with terror. Commander, why are you telling us this? Why make us afraid? Because fear is not. The point, Commander Zeth said. Understanding is the point. He turned off the screen and faced the small group of remaining students. Humans do not want to conquer us, he said. They want to protect us. They see the galaxy as their home now, and they protect their home. But Commander, Trill said, what if that changes? What if humans decide we are a threat? Then we make sure we never become a threat, Commander Zeth said. We remain their friends. We work with them, not against them. The crystal student glowed. Brighter. Commander, is that why you taught us this course? To make sure we understand humans? Partly, Commander Zeth said, but also to make sure you understand yourselves. The final bell rang. The course was over. The 25 remaining students sat in silence, processing everything they had learned. Your final assignment, Commander Zeth said, is to write a report on how your own species would defend against human tactics. Not because you will need it, but because understanding the question will help you understand the answer. As the students filed out, they were quiet and thoughtful. They had learned more than military history. They had learned about the nature of power in the galaxy. Commander Zeth remained behind, writing his final report to GDF headquarters. Human military history course completed, he typed. Student retention rate, 12.5%. Psychological impact, significant. Recommendation, continue program but with additional counseling support. He paused, then added a personal note. After 50 years of cooperation, humans remain our strongest allies. They also remain our greatest potential threat. The key to maintaining positive relations is ensuring they